The Tyloth warship hovered silently above the small blue-green planet, its sleek, angular design a stark contrast to the lush, organic landscapes that stretched out below. For decades, that Tyloth had scanned and mapped this unassuming world, cataloging its native life forms, but ultimately classifying it as a low-priority target for potential future expansion. However, recent long-range sensor sweeps had detected the unmistakable signs of nascent warp technology, a clear indication that the dominant species on this planet had finally achieved the capacity for interstellar travel. It was a development that could not be ignored, and so that Tyloth had dispatched a reconnaissance team to make first contact and assess the threat, or potential value, of this new civilization. Grohl, the captain of the Tyloth vessel, studied the readouts carefully, his 4 glowing eyes narrowed in concentration. The atmosphere composition, electromagnetic signatures, and signs of industrialization all pointed to the presence of a technologically advanced race. But the details of their physiology and social structure remained a mystery. Begin transmitting the standard first contact protocols, Grohl commanded, his deep, resonant voice carrying an undercurrent of cautious curiosity. Let us see how these humans respond. Moments later, a series of coded radio signals pierced the silence, broadcasting a message of peaceful intent and a request for diplomatic exchange. Grohl watched intently, waiting to see how the humans would react. On the surface of the planet, the news of an alien visitation had sent shockwaves through the global community. Governments scrambled to prepare, weighing the potential risks and rewards of engaging with an extraterrestrial civilization. Some advocated for an aggressive stance, while others urged caution and diplomacy. Ultimately, it was the United Nations that responded, dispatching a delegation of political, scientific, and military representatives to make first contact. As the group approached the Tyloth warship, a hush fell over the onlooking crowds who had gathered to witness this historic moment. The Tyloth vessel opened a docking hatch, and the human delegation stepped inside, greeted by a trio of towering bipedal aliens whose features were both familiar and unsettling. Their gray reptilian skin glistened with a faint bioluminescent sheen, and their faces were dominated by 4 glowing eyes and a sharp beak-like mouth. "Greetings, humans," the lead Tyloth said, his voice a deep, rumbling bass that seemed to reverberate through the air. "I am Captain Grohl of the Tyloth Expeditionary Fleet. We come in peace, seeking to establish diplomatic relations between our civilizations." The human ambassador, a seasoned diplomat named Sarah Nakamura, stepped forward, her expression one of cautious optimism. "On behalf of the United Nations, I welcome you, Captain Grohl. We are honored by your visit and look forward to engaging in peaceful discourse." As the 2 delegations began to exchange information, it quickly became clear that the gulf between their respective cultures and technologies was vast. The Tyloth were a spacefaring race with a history spanning millennia, having long ago mastered the secrets of interstellar travel and harnessed the power of exotic energies that humans could scarcely comprehend. In contrast, the humans were a relatively young civilization, their forays into space still limited to their own solar system. Yet there was an undeniable spark of potential in them, a raw, untapped vitality that the Tyloth found both intriguing and, at times, unsettling. "Your people have achieved remarkable technological feats, considering the relative youth of your civilization," Grohl remarked, his 4 eyes studying the humans with a mix of fascination and guarded apprehension. "But we have observed that you also possess physical and mental capabilities that far exceed those of most other intelligent species we have encountered." Sarah nodded, understanding the subtext of Grohl's words. "Yes, our species has evolved in ways that set us apart from many others. We are a hardy, adaptable people, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a profound sense of exploration." "So it would seem," Grohl replied, his tone contemplative. "And tell me, Ambassador Nakamura, how do you envision our 2 civilizations coexisting? What are the possibilities for cooperation and mutual benefit?" Sarah paused, considering her response carefully. "That is a question we have been grappling with ourselves, Captain. The potential for cooperation is immense, but we must also acknowledge the inherent risks and differences between our peoples. Our hope is that through open dialogue and a shared commitment to peace, we can forge a path forward that is beneficial for all." Gruul nodded slowly, his gaze never wavering from Sarah's face. "Then let us begin that dialogue. Ambassador, there is much for us to discuss." As the initial meeting drew to a close, both the human and Psyloth delegations knew that they stood at the precipice of a new era, one that would test the limits of their understanding, their cooperation, and perhaps even their very survival. In the weeks that followed the historic first contact between humans and the Psyloth, the uneasy alliance between the two civilizations began to take shape. Diplomatic channels were established, and regular exchanges of information and technology commenced. However, the Psyloth, ever the pragmatists, were not content to simply take the humans at their word. Gruul and his science team were determined to gain a deeper understanding of this newfound species and the full extent of their remarkable capabilities. Under the guise of cultural exchange, the Psyloth arranged a series of tests and observations, carefully designed to push the human delegates to their physical and mental limits. They monitored the humans' responses to environmental stressors, analyzed their problem-solving abilities, and even staged simulated combat scenarios to gauge their combat prowess. The results were nothing short of astounding. "Their resilience is beyond anything we have encountered before," Gruul mused, poring over the reams of data gathered from the experiments. "Even our most elite warriors struggle to match the sheer physical strength and endurance of these humans." Beside him, the lead scientist, Vera, nodded in agreement, and their adaptability is equally impressive. They seem to instinctively grasp the underlying principles of our technology, manipulating it with an ease that borders on the supernatural. Gruul's 4 eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Indeed, and let us not forget their capacity for violence. When provoked, they demonstrate a ferocity that is both breathtaking and deeply unsettling." The two Psyloth continued to pore over the findings, their initial fascination gradually giving way to a growing sense of unease. The humans, it seemed, were not merely a curious anomaly. They represented a potential threat to the Psyloth's hard-won dominance over the galaxy. Meanwhile, on the human side of the burgeoning alliance, the delegates were likewise scrutinizing their alien counterparts with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Psyloth, with their imposing stature, advanced technology, and seemingly effortless mastery of the cosmos, were a humbling reminder of the vast gulf that separated the two civilizations. "They're testing us, you know," Sarah Nakamura confided to her fellow delegates during a private briefing. "Pushing us to our limits, gauging our capabilities. I can't help but wonder what their endgame is." "Surely they mean us no harm," one of the scientists, a young astrophysicist named Emilia Ramirez, replied with a frown. "We've been working so hard to establish trust and cooperation. Surely they recognize our value as allies." Sarah sighed, running a hand through her graying hair. "I hope you're right, Emilia. But the Psyloth are a species that has dominated the galaxy for millennia. They're not used to having rivals, and we may very well be the first species they've encountered that can match them in certain areas." The ambassador's words hung in the air, casting a pall of unease over the group. They all knew that the fate of humanity rested on the delicate balance of power between the two civilizations. Any misstep, any perceived threat, could have catastrophic consequences. As the days turned into weeks, the Psyloth continued their relentless campaign of observation and testing, their curiosity only growing with each passing discovery. Gruul and his team marveled at the humans' capacity for innovation, their ability to quickly adapt to new environments and technologies, and their remarkable resilience in the face of physical and mental challenges. Yet, beneath the veneer of scientific inquiry, a deeper, more primal emotion began to take hold, a sense of trepidation, even fear, at the prospect of this young, upstart species posing a genuine threat to the Psyloth's dominance. "They are unlike any other intelligent life form we have encountered," Gruul murmured, his voice tinged with a rare note of uncertainty. Their potential is both intriguing and deeply unsettling. We must proceed with the utmost caution. Vera nodded in solemn agreement, her own misgivings about the humans' true nature weighing heavily on her mind. Indeed, Captain. For if we underestimate them, the consequences could be dire, not just for our own civilization, but for the entire galaxy. The two Tyloth scientists exchanged a long, loaded glance, both of them keenly aware that the fate of their species, and perhaps the very balance of power in the cosmos, now hung in the delicate balance. The Tyloth were a species that had long dominated the galactic landscape, their towering physique, advanced technology, and ruthless tactical acumen making them the undisputed apex predators of the known universe. For millennia, they had subjugated countless civilizations, either incorporating them into the Tyloth Empire or utterly eradicating them. Yet, as the Tyloth continued their rigorous testing and observation of the human delegates, a growing sense of unease began to pervade the ranks of the expeditionary fleet. The humans, with their remarkable physical strength, mental agility, and capacity for violence, represented a potential threat unlike anything that Tyloth had ever encountered. It was this realization that led Grohl and his most trusted commanders to make a fateful decision. They would put the humans' vaunted capabilities to the ultimate test. Under the guise of a joint training exercise, the Tyloth set a trap, luring a small contingent of human soldiers into a remote, rugged terrain that mirrored the harsh environments of the Tyloth homeworld. There, they would engage the humans in a simulated combat scenario, determined to assess the true extent of their martial prowess. As the human soldiers cautiously made their way through the alien landscape, the Tyloth warriors emerged from the shadows, their imposing frames bristling with advanced weaponry. The humans, recognizing the ruse immediately, quickly took up defensive positions, their eyes narrowed with a mixture of determination and trepidation. What followed was a brutal, visceral display of raw power and unyielding ferocity. The Tyloth, driven by millennia of evolutionary dominance, unleashed a devastating barrage of energy blasts and psionic attacks, their every movement a testament to their mastery of combat. Yet, to their mounting horror, the human soldiers weathered the onslaught with an unnatural resilience, their bodies taking punishment that would have crippled or killed even the mightiest Tyloth warrior. With lightning-fast reactions and a seemingly limitless capacity for violence, the humans counterattacked with a ferocity that caught the Tyloth completely off guard. Grohl, observing the battle from a distance, watched with a growing sense of dread as his elite forces were systematically overwhelmed by their human adversaries. The tactical advantage, the sheer physical dominance that the Tyloth had always taken for granted, was crumbling before their eyes. "Impossible," the captain murmured, his four eyes wide with a mixture of awe and terror. "How can these humans possess such power?" As the battle raged on, the Tyloth commanders were forced to make a desperate choice. Realizing that they were outmatched, they ordered a full retreat, their vaunted warships fleeing the battlefield in a humiliating display of defeat. Back on the Tyloth mothership, Grohl and his senior officers convened an emergency meeting, their usually stoic demeanors now tinged with a palpable sense of unease. "This cannot be," one of the commanders, a seasoned veteran named Tarka, growled. "The humans should not have been able to withstand our assault, let alone push us back. What manner of species are they?" Grohl raised a clawed hand, silencing the room. "They are a species unlike any we have encountered before. Their physical resilience, their capacity for violence, their ability to adapt and overcome, it is all beyond our comprehension." The captain paused, his gaze sweeping across the faces of his officers. "We have long considered ourselves the apex predators of the galaxy. But now, I fear we may have met our match." A heavy silence fell over the room, as each Tyloth commander grappled with the implications of Grohl's words. If the humans truly possessed the power to challenge the Tyloth's dominance, it could have catastrophic consequences for their entire civilization. "We cannot allow this to stand." Tarka finally said, his voice laced with a barely contained fury. These humans must be eliminated before they pose a threat to our very existence. Grull shook his head slowly, his expression grave. No, Tarka. We cannot afford to underestimate them again. To do so would be suicidal. The captain's eyes narrowed as he considered their options. We must tread carefully. For now, we will refrain from any further overt aggression. Instead, we will observe, we will gather intelligence, and we will determine the best course of action to ensure the continued supremacy of the Psyloth Empire. As the meeting adjourned, the Psyloth commanders departed, each one burdened by the weight of their new reality. The humans, it seemed, were no longer mere curiosities to be studied, but formidable adversaries whose very existence threatened to upend the established order of the galaxy. As the Psyloth warships retreated from the battlefield, the human soldiers stood amidst the smoldering wreckage, their expressions a mix of triumph and bewilderment. They had emerged victorious against the galaxy's undisputed apex predators, a feat that seemed almost incomprehensible. Sarah Nakamura, the human ambassador, approached the commanding officer, her brow furrowed with concern. Lieutenant, what happened out there? We were led to believe this was a simple training exercise, not an outright attack. The lieutenant, a seasoned veteran named Jared Sanderson, shook his head grimly. I'm not sure, ma'am. One moment, we were engaging in what appeared to be routine combat drills, and the next. He paused, his gaze drifting to the remains of the Psyloth weaponry scattered around them. The next, those damned reptiles unleashed some kind of devastating energy blasts. I've never seen anything like it. We were pinned down, taking heavy casualties. When he trailed off, his eyes narrowing as he recalled the events that followed. When what, Lieutenant? Sarah pressed, her voice tinged with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity. Jared let out a long, slow breath. When we fought back. I don't know how, but something inside us just snapped. Suddenly, we were moving faster, hitting harder, shrugging off blows that would have crippled a normal person. It was like we tapped into a well of power that I didn't even know we had. Sarah's eyes widened as she listened, the implications of the lieutenant's words sinking in. You're telling me that you and your men were able to overpower the Psyloth, even in the face of their advanced technology and combat prowess? Jared nodded, his expression grim. That's exactly what I'm telling you, ma'am. And from the looks of it, we didn't just overpower them. We made them run with their tails between their legs. The ambassador fell silent, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of what she had just heard. The Psyloth were the undisputed masters of the galaxy, their military might and technological superiority, unmatched by any other known civilization. Yet her own people had not only withstood their assault, but emerged victorious. It was a revelation that shook the very foundations of her understanding of the cosmic order. Back on the Psyloth mothership, the mood was one of utter disbelief and growing terror. Grull and his senior officers pored over the data from the failed operation, their four-eyed gazes filled with a mixture of awe and dread. The humans, Grull murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. They fought with a ferocity and power that defies all logic. Their strength, their stamina, their sheer capacity for violence. It is beyond anything we have ever encountered. Tarka, the veteran commander, slammed his fist down on the holographic display, his eyes narrowed with barely contained rage. This is an outrage. How dare these upstarts challenge our supremacy? We must eliminate them before they pose an existential threat to the Psyloth Empire. Grull raised a clawed hand, silencing the room. Tarka, you fail to understand the gravity of the situation. These humans possess abilities that we cannot even begin to comprehend. To underestimate them again would be the height of foolishness. The captain's gaze swept across the faces of his officers, his expression grim. We have long considered ourselves the apex predators of the galaxy. But now, I fear we may have met our match. A species that can match us blow for blow, and perhaps even surpass us in certain areas. A heavy silence fell over the room, as each Thyloth commander grappled with the implications of Grohl's words. If the humans truly possessed the power to challenge the Thyloth's dominance, it could have catastrophic consequences for their entire civilization. Then what do you propose we do, Grohl? Vera, the lead scientist, asked, her voice tinged with a rare note of uncertainty. We cannot simply ignore this threat, but nor can we afford to engage them directly. They have proven themselves more than capable of withstanding our might. Grohl's eyes narrowed as he considered their options. For now, we must tread carefully. We will observe, we will gather intelligence, and we will determine the best course of action to ensure the continued supremacy of the Thyloth Empire. But make no mistake, these humans are a force to be reckoned with, and we cannot afford to underestimate them again. As the meeting adjourned, the Thyloth commanders departed, each one burdened by the weight of their new reality. The humans, it seemed, were no longer mere curiosities to be studied, but formidable adversaries whose very existence threatened to upend the established order of the galaxy. News of the human victory against the Thyloth spread quickly throughout the galaxy, igniting a wave of shock and awe that rippled across the various alien civilizations. For millennia, the Thyloth had been the undisputed masters of the cosmos, their military might and technological superiority unmatched by any other known species. Yet this young, upstart race from a remote backwater planet had managed to not only withstand their assault, but emerge victorious. The implications were staggering. Across the galaxy, leaders of other civilizations watched with a mixture of fascination and trepidation as the reports from the Thyloth expeditionary fleet trickled in. They had long accepted the Thyloth's dominance as an immutable fact of the cosmic order, bowing to their demands and ceding territory to avoid the wrath of the apex predators. But now, with the emergence of the humans, that order had been shattered. "This changes everything," murmured Zara, the head of the Galactic Assembly, a governing body that had long been little more than a rubber stamp for Thyloth interests. If these humans are truly capable of challenging the Thyloth, then no one is safe. Her fellow assembly members exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Zara's words sinking in. For generations, they had lived in the shadow of the Thyloth, their own civilizations carefully curated and controlled to serve the Empire's needs. The prospect of a new, powerful player entering the galactic stage was both thrilling and deeply unsettling. "We must tread carefully," cautioned Cal, a seasoned diplomat from the Kelvari hegemony. "The Thyloth will not take kindly to any perceived threat to their dominance. And if these humans are as formidable as the reports suggest, they may prove to be even more dangerous adversaries." Zara nodded, her expression grim. "Precisely. We must navigate this new reality with the utmost caution. Any misstep could invite the wrath of both the Thyloth and the humans, a fate I would not wish upon any civilization." As the Galactic Assembly deliberated, the humans on Earth were equally captivated by the unfolding events. The news of their victory against the Thyloth had spread like wildfire, igniting a surge of national pride and global unity that had not been seen in decades. "We showed those reptilian bastards who's boss," exclaimed one jubilant soldier, his words echoing through the crowded streets of New York City. Across the world, people gathered in celebrations, waving flags and chanting slogans that extolled the virtues of human resilience and power. The once cautious optimism that had accompanied the first contact with the Thyloth had given way to a newfound sense of confidence and even bravado. "This is our moment, our chance to show the galaxy what we're made of," declared President Hiro Takeda during a televised address. "We are not to be trifled with, and the Thyloth have learned it the hard way. From this day forward, the name human will strike fear into the hearts of our enemies." The president's words were met with thunderous applause, the global audience captivated by the prospect of humanity rising to the forefront of the cosmic stage. For too long, they had been relegated to the sidelines, observed and studied by the more advanced alien civilizations. But now, They had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, a species capable of challenging the very foundation of the galactic order. As the celebrations continued, a more sober assessment was taking place within the halls of power. Sarah Nakamura and her fellow diplomats huddled in tense discussions, weighing the implications of their newfound reputation. "We've gained the attention of the galaxy, for better or worse," the ambassador acknowledged, her brow furrowed with concern. "The Psyloth will undoubtedly view us as a threat, and the other civilizations, well, they're likely unsure whether to see us as allies or potential conquerors." Amelia Ramirez, the young astrophysicist, nodded in agreement. "Exactly. We've awakened a sleeping giant, and now we must navigate the consequences of that. One wrong move, and we could find ourselves at the center of a galactic conflict." Sarah sighed, her gaze drifting to the holographic display that showed the current state of the Tyloth Empire and its neighboring alien civilizations. "Then we must proceed with caution and ensure that our actions are guided by wisdom and diplomacy, not reckless bravado. The fate of our species may very well hang in the balance." As the discussions continued, the humans knew that they stood at the precipice of a new era, one that would test the limits of their diplomatic skills, their military might, and their very survival. The news of the humans' victory against the mighty Psyloth Empire sent shockwaves through the galactic community, sparking a flurry of activity and uncertainty. While many civilizations watched with a mix of awe and trepidation, the Psyloth leadership was faced with a dilemma that threatened to unravel the very foundations of their dominance. Grohl, the captain of the Psyloth Expeditionary Fleet, convened an emergency council with his most trusted advisors, his four glowing eyes betraying a rare display of unease. "We cannot ignore this threat," Grohl rumbled, his deep voice laced with a note of frustration. "These humans have demonstrated a level of power that challenges the very core of our supremacy. We must devise a plan to either eliminate them or bring them under our control." Tarka, the seasoned military commander, nodded in agreement, his clawed hands clenching into fists. "Yes, we must act swiftly and decisively. A direct confrontation may be our only option to preserve the Psyloth Empire's reign over the galaxy." However, Vera, the lead scientist, raised a cautionary hand. "Captain, you underestimate the risk of such an approach. The humans have proven that they can match our forces in battle, and perhaps even surpass them. A direct assault could prove to be our undoing." Grohl's eyes narrowed as he considered Vera's words. "Then what do you propose, Vera? We cannot simply allow these upstarts to challenge our authority without consequence." The scientist paused, her gaze shifting between the assembled commanders. "We must explore alternative strategies, ones that do not rely on outright military confrontation. Perhaps we can find a way to coexist with the humans, to forge an alliance that would benefit both our civilizations." Tarka scoffed, his expression one of utter disdain. "An alliance? With these primitives? Preposterous. They are nothing more than a nuisance, a thorn in the side of our empire. We should crush them before they have the chance to become a true threat." Grohl raised a clawed hand, silencing the room. "Tarka, as much as I share your desire to maintain our dominance, Vera makes a valid point. The humans have demonstrated capabilities that we cannot simply ignore or dismiss. A direct confrontation could prove disastrous, not just for us, but for the entire galactic order." The captain's gaze swept across the faces of his advisors, his expression grave. "We must consider the possibility that these humans may be a force that we cannot easily subjugate. And if that is the case, then perhaps the wisest course of action is to seek a peaceful coexistence, one where we can leverage their strengths to our advantage, rather than risk annihilation in a futile attempt to crush them." Tarka opened his mouth to protest, but Grohl cut him off with a sharp gesture. "I understand your concerns, my friend, but we must be pragmatic. The galaxy has changed, and we must adapt if the Psyloth Empire is to survive." Reluctantly, the seasoned commander nodded, his expression one of uneasy acceptance. "Very well, Grohl. But know this, If these humans prove to be more trouble than they are worth, I will not hesitate to recommend a full-scale assault, regardless of the risks." Gruul inclined his head in acknowledgement. "Duly noted, Tarka. For now, we shall pursue a path of diplomacy and deterrence. We will offer the humans an alliance, one that will ensure their prosperity and security, in exchange for their promise to refrain from any further expansion or aggression." As the meeting adjourned, the Tyloth commanders departed, each one grappling with the implications of their new reality. The humans, once mere curiosities, had now become a force to be reckoned with, one that threatened to upend the carefully constructed balance of power that the Tyloth had maintained for millennia. But Gruul was determined to find a way to coexist with this new, formidable species, for the sake of the Tyloth Empire, and perhaps the entire galaxy. He knew that they could not afford to underestimate the humans again. Over the course of the following years, the tentative alliance between the humans and the Tyloth slowly but surely took shape. It was a delicate balancing act, fraught with challenges and moments of tension, but both sides recognized the importance of maintaining a stable coexistence. Gruul, the Tyloth captain who had once been filled with trepidation at the prospect of the human threat, now found himself cautiously optimistic about the potential of the partnership. Through careful negotiation and a willingness to compromise, the two civilizations had managed to forge a mutually beneficial arrangement. The Tyloth, with their advanced technology and vast knowledge of the cosmos, provided the humans with access to resources, trade opportunities, and technological advancements that accelerated the pace of human exploration and development. In turn, the humans shared their innovative problem-solving skills, resourcefulness, and uncanny adaptability, traits that the Tyloth found both intriguing and valuable. "Our initial fears about the humans were not entirely unfounded," Gruul admitted to Vera, the Tyloth scientist, during a private discussion. "Their capacity for violence and their potential to disrupt the established order of the galaxy was a genuine concern. But now, I see that they can be valuable allies, provided we approach our relationship with wisdom and caution." Vera nodded, her 4 eyes glowing with a mixture of understanding and cautious optimism. "Indeed, Captain. The humans have proven themselves to be more than just a threat. They are a species with remarkable potential, and by working together, we may be able to unlock new frontiers of knowledge and advancement that could benefit us all." As the alliance deepened, the humans and Tyloth began to collaborate on a wide range of initiatives, from scientific research to cultural exchanges. The once wary human delegates, led by Ambassador Sarah Nakamura, found themselves drawn to the Tyloth's vast wealth of knowledge and eager to learn from their more experienced counterparts. "It's remarkable, the things we've been able to accomplish together," Sarah mused during one of her regular briefings with the UN. "The Tyloth have opened up entire new avenues of exploration and discovery for us, and in return, they seem genuinely intrigued by our innovative spirit and problem-solving abilities." The ambassador's words were met with a mix of reactions from the assembled world leaders. While some welcomed the prospect of a stable alliance with the formidable Tyloth Empire, others remained wary, their memories of the initial confrontation still fresh in their minds. "We cannot forget that the Tyloth were once our adversaries," cautioned President Takeda, his brow furrowed with concern. "They may have offered us an olive branch, but we must remain vigilant. One wrong move, and they could turn on us again." Sarah nodded, understanding the president's trepidation. "That's a valid concern, Mr. President. But I believe that by maintaining a delicate balance of power and continuously reinforcing our mutual interests, we can ensure a lasting peace and prosperity for both our civilizations." Takeda's expression softened slightly, though the tension in his shoulders remained. "I hope you're right, Ambassador. The stakes are too high for us to get this wrong." As the years passed, the alliance between the humans and Tyloth continued to flourish, with both sides benefiting from the exchange of knowledge, resources, and technological advancements. Tensions occasionally flared as the two civilizations navigated the complexities of their partnership, but a shared sense of pragmatism and a recognition of their mutual strengths kept the relationship on a stable footing. For the humans, the alliance with the Xyloth represented a remarkable opportunity to accelerate their own development and exploration of the cosmos. They no longer felt like mere observers, but active participants in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization. And for the Xyloth, the humans had become not just valuable allies, but a source of inspiration and innovation, a reminder that even the mightiest of empires could benefit from embracing new perspectives and unexpected partnerships. As the two civilizations continued to work together, a newfound sense of mutual respect and understanding began to take root. The initial wariness and fear that had once defined a relationship gave way to a growing appreciation for each other's unique strengths and contributions. It was a delicate balance, to be sure, but one that both the humans and Xyloth were determined to maintain, for the sake of their own futures and the future of the galaxy itself. As the decades passed, the once uneasy alliance between the humans and the Xyloth Empire evolved into a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. The initial trepidation and fear that had once defined their relationship had given way to a growing appreciation for each other's unique strengths and contributions. For the Xyloth, the humans had become more than just a potential threat to their dominance. They were a source of inspiration and innovation, a reminder that even the mightiest of empires could benefit from embracing new perspectives and unexpected alliances. Grohl, the Xyloth captain who had once viewed the humans with a mixture of awe and dread, now found himself marveling at the progress and achievements they had accomplished alongside their newfound allies. When we first encountered the humans, I must admit, I was filled with a sense of foreboding, the captain confessed to his longtime friend and colleague, Vera. Their raw power, their adaptability, their capacity for violence, it all seemed to pose a grave threat to the very foundations of our empire. Vera nodded, her 4 eyes gleaming with a contemplative light. Yes, I remember those early days well. We were torn between fascination and fear, unsure of how to proceed in the face of this new and formidable species. Grohl's gaze drifted to the viewport, where the vast expanse of the galaxy stretched out before them. And yet, look at what we have accomplished together. The humans have proven to be invaluable partners, sharing their innovative problem-solving skills and bolstering our own technological advancements in ways we never could have imagined. The scientist hummed in agreement. Indeed, their resilience, their creativity, their boundless curiosity, it has all contributed to the continued growth and prosperity of the Xyloth Empire. We have learned as much from them as they have from us. Grohl chuckled, a rumbling sound that seemed to reverberate through the bridge of the Xyloth mothership. You know, Vera, I once believed that the humans were a threat to be eliminated, a blight upon the cosmic order that we had so carefully maintained. His expression softened, a glimmer of pride and affection shining in his eyes. But now, I see them as valued allies, partners in the ongoing exploration and colonization of the galaxy. Vera's lips curled into a rare smile. As do I, my friend. The humans have proven themselves to be worthy of our respect and admiration. Their potential is limitless, and I cannot help but wonder what other wonders we might uncover by continuing to work alongside them. As the two Xyloth commanders continued their discussion, a sense of optimism and camaraderie permeated the air. The once formidable divide between the two civilizations had been bridged, giving way to a new era of cooperation and mutual growth. Back on Earth, the humans, too, had come to view the Xyloth in a different light. Gone were the days of trepidation and uncertainty, replaced by a deep appreciation for the vast knowledge and technological prowess of their galactic counterparts. Sarah Nakamura, the human ambassador who had witnessed the initial first contact, couldn't help but reflect on how far the two civilizations had come. When we first met the Xyloth, I must admit, I was filled with a sense of both awe and trepidation, she confessed during a televised interview. Their power, their dominance, it was all so overwhelming. But now, after years of collaboration and mutual understanding, I see them not just as allies, but as partners in the pursuit of knowledge and the exploration of the cosmos. The ambassador's words were met with a thunderous round of applause, the global audience captivated by the narrative of humanity's rise to the forefront of the galactic stage. The Iloth have taught us so much, Sarah continued, her eyes shining with a mixture of pride and humility. And in turn, I believe we have challenged them, inspired them, and perhaps even helped them to see the galaxy in a new light. Together, we are forging a path forward that benefits not just our own civilizations, but the entire fabric of the cosmos. As the interview drew to a close, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and optimism about the future. The once daunting chasm between humans and Psyloth had been bridged, and in its place stood a partnership built on mutual respect, shared goals, and a boundless curiosity about the mysteries of the universe. It was a testament to the power of cooperation, resilience, and the willingness to embrace the unknown, a lesson that would continue to shape the course of galactic history for generations to come.